So the High Court made a ruling telling us that the house tax, the house levy, is illegal, null, void, and very unconstitutional, but we will still have to pay for it. And I was asking myself, what kind of a ruling is that? Do we even still have qualified judges in our country? It's like telling the president that your election was null, void, illegal, and very unconstitutional, but you'll still have to be the president of Kenya for the next 5 years until fresh elections are being conducted. First of all, who are these judges? I've confirmed from the list. We have Judge Lawrence Mugambi, Judge Christine Meoli. Then this case was presided by Judge David Majanja. Inasmuch as we do respect the court decision, but I tend to think that there is something fishy going on with our own judges at the High Court of Kenya. Because every ruling that they declare unconstitutional, null, void, illegal, if that case is appealed, it becomes very legal. For example, they did the same in the Finance Act. They declared the Finance Act illegal and unconstitutional. But when that case was appealed by the government, the Finance Act became so much effective up to date. So there is something going on, and which is not very, very good for our country. And I've gone through the ruling and the two main reasons as to why these judges declared the house tax illegal are as follows. First of all, the introduction of the levy was discriminatory, in that the employed workers only are being taxed, while the non-formal sector are not being taxed. So according to these judges, the government must also include these taxes to the non-formal sector, not for the employed sector alone. But I also tend to think that this was actually the plan for the government to also include the non-formal sector to pay for the house levy. But only time will tell. So let us wait and see how things will turn out to be. So let me just read for you the ruling. It says, levy against person in formal employment with exclusion of other non-formal without justification, discriminatory, irrational, arbitrary, and in violation of Article 27 and 201 of the Constitution. The second reason is that the house levy or the house tax was very much unconstitutional. According to these judges, there are some articles in the VAT that violated the Constitution. So I don't know all about these issues because it is so much deep. But basically, what I can say, which is very, very important as a country, is this. First of all, Kenyans need shelter. Shelter is one of the basic needs. And also, it is the duty of the government to ensure that Kenyans can afford the basic needs: food, clothes, and shelter. The shelter that the government is talking about here, it must be very much affordable. Each and every Kenyan can afford to live in that house because it is not too much expensive. It is not too much cheap. So the court nullifying the house levy, it is like denying Kenyans the affordable shelter. Secondly, Kenyans need employment. The affordable housing program created employment for very many youths. For a country to grow, we must also look at both sides. How many youths, how many Kenyans are unemployed? And how can we assist this sector, the majority of Kenyans who are unemployed? You have seen in several cases, whenever they call for interviews, maybe 2 or 3 people are needed, but thousands of people will have to attend that particular interview because it is so hard for our youths. It is so hard for very many Kenyans here. So declaring this move as null and illegal, you are basically denying Kenyans jobs, which is not good. The industries must rise up, manufacturing industries. And also through this program, Kenya will actually have more taxes to pay the loans and the huge debt.
That is the plan. I know the court have said we should go and readjust the law to make it aligned appropriately. That we are going to do, so that the 120,000 people can become 200,000 and can become 500,000 in the next 5 years. Because if we don't engage these people in productive work, they will become a very big challenge to all of us. The young people out there, unless we create real opportunities. And you know, we used to talk about we're going to grow the economy and the economy is going to create jobs. It's now beyond that. We have to be deliberate. We have to be intentional about where we are going to create those jobs.
The affordable housing is one of the most thoughtful strategies of our administration. One, to dignify people. Shelter is a constitutional requirement. We want Kenyans to have shelter. And not just shelter, but dignified shelter with proper sanitation so that people can be dignified. Number two, that strategy, and we need your support, is also to create employment for our young people. I am aware that people have gone to court to try to suspend the housing levy and to sabotage the housing program. Much as we respect the independence of the judiciary, I want to request our judges to exercise judicial discretion and not sabotage that program. We have thousands of young people today who are now engaged in a housing program. That program will dignify the people of Kenya. It is the desire of every Kenyan who live in an urban center to own a home one day. And all of you here, that is your desire. Anybody who left the village for the urban to be an urbanite would want to own a home. Nobody wants to continue paying rent. That program enables Kenyans to own a home in an affordable manner. I appeal to our judicial officers not to allow themselves to sabotage that program. It's a good program. Already we have many young men and women who are working on these construction sites. The Governor Kwale here has said what they are looking forward to, and it's a good program. We want to ask the planners to support that program.